Hello YouTubers, and welcome to another Doctor Who Classic Series action figure review. In today's review I'm looking at the latest Classic Series exclusive from Forbidden Planet and Underground Toys, which is the City of Death set, featuring Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor, and Julian Glover as Count Scarlione, aka Scaroth. So this is a great set. It's one of the first 2 packs we've had this year, possibly even the first actually. I shall begin by looking at the new figure, which is Count Scarlione. The first thing I'm going to mention is the body. The body of this figure isn't actually a new sculpt, nor is it a reused Doctor Who sculpt. It's actually a primeval figure. I think his name's James Lester. Don't know, don't watch the programme, I just use them for custom fodder, hence why he's got no head. But the sculpt is the same, the legs are the same, and the arms are the same. The only thing that's new is the torso and the head sculpt. So character options have started to borrow from their sculpts from other properties, which some people dislike. They think that it's akin to customising, which I suppose it is in a way, but personally I don't mind it. I'm all happy for using sculpts when they can be used, when they can be reused, when they can be shared. Masters of the Universe Classics, DC Universe Classics, they share parts all the time. And of course it's not something we're not used to in the Doctor Who range. They do it with the Doctors, they do it with the Daleks, you know. So it's not unusual. So the articulation is just your standard neck, shoulders, biceps, at the elbow, the wrists, at the waist, at the thighs rather, and at the knees, and of course at the hips, and they go forwards and out to the side. So it's your standard articulation. So let's look at the detail on this figure. So as I said before, it reuses the arms and legs of the James Lester figure. So I'll very quickly look at the head sculpt. So the initial images that were released didn't really look that much like Julian Glover. It was okay, but it didn't really look like him. Having the figure in hand, it looks much more like him. You can tell who it's meant to be. It does look like Count Scarlione. And it's a really nice sculpt. The hair especially, very nicely done, sort of dark colours with the grey wash on top. And it really lets the hair stand out. And yeah, I mean, the face sculpt is really, really good. It does look like him, I think. They have captured his features. They've sort of captured that smug, aristocratic look. Obviously, the torso and the jacket are all new pieces. So we have the cravat with, like, the necktie across there. The jacket and the waistcoat are separate pieces, separate rubbery pieces. I think even the shirt is actually a separate piece to the main torso as well. So the sculpt's really nice creases on the jacket and things, very nice. He also has, which is nice attention to detail, his ring on his hand. If I remember rightly, I've not watched City of Death in ages, I think that's what he uses to control his wife's bracelet, but I can't really remember, but that's a nice little retool of the James Lester hand. It is the same hand, it looks very similar, and they've just sort of added that on, which is really nice. So overall, as a figure, really good. Nice to look at, looks like the actor. Very good indeed. Of course, one of the main aspects of this figure is the fact that he comes with his Scaroth head, his Jagaroth face. So, if we just pull his head off, which is not an easy task because his head is on really tight. There we go. And here is the Scaroth head. And we'll stick that on next. Now, what's interesting to note is that the peg seems too big for the actual hole. So trying to get that on is a pain in the ass. There he is with the Scaroth head. The first thing I noticed when putting it on was, gosh, his head looks really out of scale with the rest of his body. And it does. It looks a bit too small. I'm not sure if in the manufacturing process the head was downscaled accidentally. It does happen. It happened with the DC Universe Classics not Scaroth, Sinestro figure. He came out being too small compared to the rest of the figures. So it could have been that, or it might be that Character Options felt that seeing as this head is meant to be under this face, because obviously this is just meant to be a mask, maybe they thought that the head should be slightly smaller, as if it was fitting under that mask, which kind of makes sense, but it does seem to be a bit too small for the body, but sometimes it sort of does catch me off guard, and other times I can look at it and think, oh no, it's not too bad. It looks like it did in the episode. Got the eye in the middle there, which is really nice. You can see the pupil and things. Nice texture. They've given it a glossy finish to give it sort of like a gooey texture, like a gooey look to it. Quite sort of fleshy. And this is just sort of like a dark green with sort of a light green wash over the top. So it looks really nice as a head sculpt. And, you know, it doesn't look too bad on the body. Sometimes it looks too small in comparison to the other head. But, you know, overall I'm very pleased with it. He also comes with an accessory, which is his gun, his little pistol. I don't know if it's a Luger. It looks sort of like that kind of thing. My only criticism, because it's a nice gun, if guns can be nice, it's a nice gun, but it doesn't really fit his hand. See? It looks a bit weird. It looks like he's sort of holding it, or he's like a bit nervous to hold it. And you try and put it in his other hand, and I feel that in this one is not as tight or is a bit loose, but it does look somewhat better, but it just doesn't seem to want to grip in his hand very well. So it would have been better, I think, if Character Options had maybe put in a bit of money to retool the hand if they were going to give him the gun. To be honest, if it didn't come with the gun, I wouldn't have worried, to be honest. But it was a nice addition, and of course you can use it in action figure adventures and put it with other figures and what have you. So because this head sculpt is so nice, I'm now not sure whether or not to display him with his Scaroth head or with his Scarleone head. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'll swap and change and have a little think about that. So that's Scaroth, last of the Jagaroth. So very quickly, we'll take a quick look at the Fourth Doctor. So it's basically the Destiny of the Daleks Fourth Doctor, which I absolutely slated because that version had the wrong scarf. The scarf was the old Season 12 version. Now Character Options have gone back and have probably heard the outcry of anger about this scarf, and they've re-sculpted a new scarf, which looks a hell of a lot better. My only criticism with this new scarf is this. Why has he got blue on his scarf? He never had blue on his scarf. Not really sure why they decided to do that. All the other colours are fine. And some of the paint applications on the scarf are quite sloppy. As you can see there, it's all a bit crappy. But overall, it's not too bad. You can get away with it. If it weren't for the blue stripes, I mean, obviously here, we can just see they've almost, in a way, cut some corners by having straight across, which is a bit funny. It looked worse in photographs. In the flesh, I don't think it looks as bad, and I don't think the colours look as bad, but it's just that blue seems to sort of stand out a bit too much, and it's a bit jarring to see that there. But the sculpt's really nice. It looks like it should do. Again, one issue that I do have with this figure is, of course, the coat doesn't have the lapels popped up. I mean, the scarf looks wide, as if there should be something there popping up, but who knows, I'm not sure if that's really the case or not. But the scarf's nice. Also, the first scarf to have painted tassels as well, which is interesting. And if we pull the scarf off, just a few little differences to note from the Destiny of the Daleks version. Number one, he has his palette and paint badge on his lapel. It's only painted on. In some of the photographs it didn't look that good, but it's not too bad. It's nice that they added it. It's almost a shame, really, that you never actually see it with the scarf on, because the scarf covers it over. Again, he does have the waistcoat sculpted onto his shirt, and it hasn't been painted, but on my one, the coat has been glued down across it really well, so you can't really see that the waistcoat's there, which is good, really. I mean, I'd rather not see the fact that they haven't been able to afford to paint the waistcoat, which I assume is what it is, that the money just wasn't there to cover all the sectors of the figure. And the legs are back to the normal Season 12 version, which is, of course, because in City of Death he was back to the sort of trousers and shoes. But overall, it's not bad. The head sculpt is, again, the same solemn head sculpt from the first wave, Season 12 Tom Baker. There is a tiny little hint of grey, not as much as what they did with the Destiny Dalek, which was a bit over the top. And, of course, his lips and things aren't as bright purple as they have been on previous recent releases. So, overall, I mean, I'm quite happy with this one. Apart from the weird addition of blue paint for the scarf, which I can't really understand why they've done that. It's a really nice figure. Would have been better if they'd have been, like I said, removed the blue and popped up the lapels on the coat, but who knows, it seems that with this Tom they keep improving it each time they release it. Who knows, maybe they'll release the same figure again in another set and he'll have the coat sorted out. But for now, I'm happy with this. I think is a nice figure to display. Sonic Screwdriver again is the accessory. A lot of black on this one. In fact, I think there's a bit of paint bleed on there, but I'm not going to really worry about that too much because at this point I've got so many Sonic Screwdrivers for the different Doctors. One thing I will point out now is the final accessory, which is the Mona Lisa. Or one of them. This is really nice. The frame is a bit warped. Apparently that was a thing with all of them. Mine was a bit worse than that, but you can actually, if you're careful, pop the frame off. It just prizes off. There's only little plugs, and I just sort of pulled it apart and just tried to reshape it as best as I could. The sculpt on the picture frame is really nice, and it's gold. It's sort of like a black wash to highlight the details. On the back, there is a lovely wooden boarded effect, which is just like the props in the actual episode. Obviously not with C and all the BBC stuff on the back, but this is really nice. I didn't expect them to do this. In fact, I didn't really expect them to do the plastic for the frame. I just thought it would be maybe like a bit of card, almost like a just what it was, a card. But no, it isn't, and this is just paper, the actual Mona Lisa itself, but it's nice glossy paper and it looks really good. But there's a secret. There's like an Easter egg. Now, if you have a UV light or David Tennant Sonic Screwdriver, like I do, and shine it over the top, you can see that the Doctor's message of "this is a fake" is on top. I'm trying to get that as best as I can, but the light isn't really picking it up too well. And it actually is. Someone on Gallifrey Base, you can even see it a bit like that. Someone on Gallifrey Base even screen grabbed the Doctor writing that down, and it is actually in the exact same handwriting. So, well done to Character Options there for supplying this little accessory with that Easter egg and being so accurate to the on-screen prop. So there we go. Really good set of figures. If you're a fan of this story or a fan of Douglas Adams' time on Doctor Who, definitely get this set. Both figures look really nice. If you skipped out on the Destiny of the Daleks set because Tom Baker was crap, get that one. Much better, much improved. There are still room for improvement, like I said, with the scarf, and obviously the coat's not quite right still, but in all honesty, if the scarf was if the scarf didn't have those weird blue colours on, I think I'd probably be happy enough to say, oh well, fair enough, we'll just go with that. Quick little add-on. Why isn't Salvage Mission up yet? I just haven't had time to do it. I've not even finished editing the first episode yet, and I've nearly finished filming the story. It's been taking me that long because I just have so much going on at the moment. Thanks for watching this review, guys. I shall see you next time.